Welcome into Jets Nation Radio. I'm Angus Hout. Got Sam Brownell with me. How's it going there, Sam?
Oh, not so bad.
Yeah,
Beautiful Sunday.
yeah, it's a beautiful Sunday. It's like 0 degrees here in Winnipeg today.
I I haven't been outside yet today, if I'm
I,
being honest. So
I
I
haven't been
couldn't tell
outside
you.
either. I just look at the weather and I'm just like an old farmer and it's like, yeah, look at the weather, guys. It's just gray like always in Winnipeg. So those Jets, they're pretty good, hey?
The Jets are looking like a good hockey team. You got to
Yeah.
give it to them.
We really do. Through 26 games, it doesn't feel like it's much of a fluke. Like this team has earned top spot in the Central Division. They're points percentage wise best in the West. They're fourth in the NHL again, points percentage wise. They're a good team to watch.
I could listen to those stats all day.
Oh,
just
yeah.
just keep repeating them to me. It's
It, it'd
fantastic.
be fantastic if I could figure out how to make this into a giant looping audio GIF.
Yeah. Just keep playing it over and over and over again.
Yeah. So, but we've been here before. We've done this song and dance. So we did that in 2019, where this team looked like they were unstoppable for the first half of the year. So, what's the difference between this year and the last time the Jets were on top of the world?
I don't you know what is actually one difference to me? So every time the Jets are like this, their goal difference seems to be super close. Or they have like they've played 3 or 4 more games than everyone else. So like the point percentage just isn't quite there, or that goal difference isn't quite there. Right now, the Jets are, the last time I checked, they were tied for third best goal difference in the NHL, only behind Boston and New Jersey. And their point percentage is just up there. They're playing really good hockey games. They're winning hockey games, and that's all that matters right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you sent it to me yesterday and it was all over Jets social media. Was the Jets are points percentage wise, the best team to make the playoff, to win the Stanley Cup right now, and like second percent best percent go to the playoffs.
Yeah, all those advanced stats that always piss me off because they have the Jets like not doing anything are finally looking in the Jets' favor. So moneypuck.com right now is the Jets. I'll pull up the actual numbers quickly, but it's like 10.2% or something to win the cup, which is the best odds out of any team in the league. So they have Jets at 10.2. Next is New Jersey at 9.2. And then Boston at 8.4. I don't get the Boston at 8.4. Like they look so good, but we'll take it. Whatever the confusing advanced stats say this one time, we'll listen to them.
Yeah.
And when they favor us, we'll accept it.
Oh yeah, huge analytics guys once the numbers start to go in our direction. But yeah, you're right. It's just like it is a little bit bewildering that Boston isn't in like the best percentage. Like I know they lost
you would think they have the best percentage to make the playoffs by like half, like 0.2 or something.
Yeah,
tiny. But I would think they'd be far and ahead, the highest chance to win the cup. But I mean, also Toronto's catching them.
Yeah,
Toronto's only a couple points behind them now, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, like Matt Murray for Toronto has really turned it around for those guys. Like he's playing unbelievably. Minus the game against the Flames last night where he barely pulled off a W, but
yeah,
whatever.
So Toronto's only 1 point back of Boston, but they've played 3 more games.
Yeah.
So that like point percentage wise, they're not right there, but I mean they're right there essentially. And Boston just lost to Arizona, so
they did. It was a bit of a fluky last goal by Arizona. I'd seen the other night. There was a non-call,
like
non-icing. Yeah, non-icing called.
Yeah.
So it threw everyone off. Whatever. Boston can lose every now and then to like one of the worst teams in the league. We lost
14-0-1 at home.
Yeah. Settle down there, anyone in Boston who's worried about your team. And why are you listening to our podcast? This is a Jets podcast.
Yeah, what are you doing? You lost? What's going on here?
But tell your friends about us, because I'm sure we'd be huge in Boston.
Oh yeah.
Massive. Yeah, so I'd seen yesterday some folks on Twitter were like, hey, should we trade Ehlers?
The dumbest. I also was seeing that on good old Jets Twitter, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Trading Nick Ehlers, the Jets instantly become a worse hockey team. I know he's injured right now. I know he's not playing, and people are saying when he gets healthy. And so I saw a couple people say trade Ehlers for a top 2 defenseman and then trade some defenseman depth for a top 6 forward. And it's like, hey, idiots.
Who are you going to get?
You're trading a top 6, an elite top 6 forward, nonetheless. Why would you just skip the middleman and try and trade some of those depth pieces for that defenseman? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. People are idiots on Twitter, but no, I wouldn't even fathom a Nick Ehlers trade. But trading some of those depth D pieces for a potential top end D wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
But I mean, you look at the defense right now, Logan Stanley out for we don't know how long just yet. I haven't heard an update, but I mean, sometimes those key defensive pieces that are just waiting for a spot.
That's true.
It's proving to be beneficial this year. And like going back to the Nick Ehlers thing, it's like I think it would be absolutely foolish for the Jets to trade him. I don't know if Nick Ehlers is necessarily elite. I would put him in the category of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Sean Monahan, where he's an important piece for your team, but he's not the guy. He's not your elite talent. He's your good talent. Very good talent.
I disagree. He's never been given that opportunity because of Paul Maurice. He never got those top line minutes. He never had a chance to prove that he can be. He was never on the top power play, which is absurd.
Yes.
Even when our power play was horrible, no one could get the puck into the zone. Nick Ehlers can skate the puck into the zone.
Yeah, but you can see the same thing about Monahan and Nuge.
I think it's hard to say Ehlers isn't elite because he's never had the opportunity to consistently prove how good he is. And it looked like he was going to get that opportunity this year, and he looked really good in the very few games he played.
3 points in 2 games. You can't disagree with those numbers.
And I mean, in those 2 games, he was arguably the Jets' best forward.
Yeah. And I know someone was like, well, look at his defense, his fancy defensive numbers. They're not that great. And it's like, yeah, they're not, but we haven't seen him with good old bones yet. Wait until
I don't know. I think even thinking about trading Ehlers would be a horrible decision for the Jets. Plus, in the long run, like I know you're in a win now mode. One, I think Ehlers helps with that winning now, but this is a guy who loves Winnipeg and who wants to be here his entire career. At least that's what it seems like. You don't just trade that away when you're the Winnipeg Jets, because that's not something you get every day.
Well, and you look at the intangibles of what he's done too on the ice. The Jake Evans incident, the fight between him and Getzlaf. It's like, who's 6 foot and going to go fight Getzlaf? I'm roughly around the same size.
6 foot on skates, Nick Ehlers.
Yeah.
He is. That height is a lie.
He's not a big boy, but yet he took on a guy that was 40 pounds heavier than him and minimum 4 inches taller.
Minimum, yeah.
So it was like those intangibles. It's like, who are you going to find in the NHL with a bigger heart than Nick Ehlers?
Absolutely. I love Nick Ehlers. I think he looks like he's great in the locker room, great around the community. He's great on the ice. There's no chance a contender trades that away. And he's on a fairly team-friendly deal.
Yeah, another $6 million for the next 2 years after this one. Like, it's Nick Ehlers just makes sense on this team.
Anyone who says the Jets should trade Nick Ehlers has absolutely no idea what they're talking about.
No, they haven't looked at the overlying numbers. They're like, well, 0.75 points per game. That's not really good. It's like, no. Have a real look at it. He's an important piece for this team.
He last year had the most points per time on ice.
Yeah,
for the Jets.
Yeah, you kind of forget about that too.
He's not scoring as much as Scheifele, Connor, Wheeler, but you have to remember that he was playing 15 minutes and those guys were playing 21 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so he's got a couple less points, but he's playing 6 less minutes a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not power. Those guys are getting 90 seconds out of every 2 minutes on the power play. And he's getting that other 30 when you're getting ready to no longer be on the power play. I think one, we need to see what he does when he comes back, but it would be absolutely absurd
Well,
to move on.
could you imagine if this Jets team had another, I don't know, let's say 18 points on it?
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, look how good the Jets are playing right now. Sans Nick Ehlers. When he comes back, and I like I know a sports hernia is not going to be the easiest thing to come back from, but I mean, when he comes back, you're adding a quick playmaking forward on the wing with Connor and Dubois.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not going to be a bad thing. I mean, like, Easymont has been fantastic there, being a great forechecking forward. But yeah, no, there's going to be a day where it's like, well, we could use those goals a whole lot more than that forechecking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it would be all and just the absurdity of talking about them going out and trying to trade depth defensemen for a top six forward when you just gave away a top six. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, you're jumping through way too many hoops, and everyone that knows anything about Kevin Cheveldayoff knows that guy likes to sit on his hands and wait for the ultimate trade. Like we talked about it this summer. The Jets don't lose trades.
They've missed on a couple.
Okay, but we can say probably 90% of trades have been.
For the most part, they make good hockey trades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like it's foolish to trade him, and I just wanted to see what your opinion was on it. I had a feeling that you were not going to trade Nicky Ehlers.
No.
Yeah, no. We got the Washington Capitals tonight and Alexander Ovechkin. How many OV goals are an acceptable amount of goals?
Zero.
You don't want to see him start to catch up to the old Gordie Howes and Gretzky's tonight?
I did before, not to get political, but his support of Putin it's been shocking. I mean, I'm pretty sure his Instagram picture is still, like, his profile picture on Instagram is still him and Putin. Almost a year into a war that Putin started. Yeah. So again, not to over politicize it, we're talking sports here, but no, I plus as fun as it would be to see someone finally break one of Gretzky's unbreakable records, it's nice having a Canadian sit on top. And do you really want that Russian flag on top of there, or do you want every record to have a Canadian flag on top?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It is Ov and Putin.
Like, dude, make it a picture of your kid or something. Like, you have children or your wife. Like, I know he's paying for everything, but like, it's just shocking.
But I mean, that Russian credit card that he's got access to,
he's got all the money in the world.
He really does. That. Yeah, I suppose. Listen, I don't want to get into the whole Russia conflict thing because that's out of our idiots, territory.
And that's not what we're here for.
No, we're here for hockey, darn it. And honestly, I would be stoked to see 2 OV goals tonight. I know he's getting closer and closer. I just want to see him get it. The guy is the best pure goal scorer in the NHL. I know he's elite.
He's done this throughout his career is absolutely astounding.
Yeah. But yeah, it was even funny hearing Axel Johnson-Fialvi, who's become one of my favorite talking points this year. He was just like, it's insane. Like, I've got 1 goal in my NHL career, or 2 goals, and to see him getting 50 a year is just insane.
Well, yeah, that'll also be fun to watch good old Johnson-Fialvi go up against his old team, and Brendan Dillon against his old team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope we get a fiery Brendan Dillon
and Nate Schmidt played there too.
Yes, he did. There's actually good couple connections there.
Yeah. Are the Jets still, or the Jets Thrashers franchise still the one that Ovi has the most goals against?
Oh, probably.
We were for a long time because Atlanta was in their division.
Yeah.
And they sucked.
Yeah, and you could just line them up with the Thrashers. You know what? I think the NHL just needs to go to this thing where it's like, once a team is moved formally, you got to start cutting off some of your numbers.
Well, I like that they've started doing Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg Jets history. Like, Scheifele joins Wheeler, Howard, and Steen is the only Winnipeg Jets players to have 600 points. I like that they've started doing that because we don't care about Atlanta's history.
No.
Arizona doesn't care about the original Jets history, even though I'm pretty sure Solani's jersey's up in their rafters, which is hilarious because he never played there.
No, exactly. But it was what else was there? Yeah, it's dumb. But it also like Blake Wheeler's Thrasher points count for his Winnipeg Jets points. So he's just like that weird grandfathered clause in that it's like, yeah, I'll accept Thrasher numbers.
Does he not have 600 with the Jets though?
He probably does, because I think he only played 20 games with the Thrashers in total. Like he was the last season trade deadline trade because he was traded from Boston that last year.
Oh, okay.
Boston won the cup, which I mean is all the reason to win the cup for Wheeler this year to get like that. Could you imagine Winnipeg, Boston playoff, like Stanley Cup final, and Wheeler's just out there to be like, you guys traded me 12 years ago and now you're going to regret it.
I like it. So Winnipeg is currently tied with the Lightning for most Ovi goals against. He has 50 goals against both clubs. Hurricanes are next with 47, Flyers with 46. But I mean, gotta hold him to 0 tonight.
Yeah.
And it can't take sole possession of that.
No. If I know that was a stat, there's no more Ovi goals tonight. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, he'll get some more against the Lightning. I'm sure he plays them a little more often. So
yeah.
Gotta hold him to none the few times we see them this year.
Really do. The 2 times we get to see Ovi, which is exciting. Like I like watching Ovi games just because he just stands there, just
it's just he honestly just like power shots through the goalie.
Yeah.
Because you see guys that just like pick corners, they can score from anywhere. Ovi just like steps into them. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he is picking corners too, but it's not the same as like the way Line picks a corner. It's just, I'm going to shoot this so hard, you don't have a chance to stop it.
Yeah.
Where it's going in the net.
Just stupid like slap shots from the dot. It's amazing to watch day in and day out. So good for you, Washington, picking up Ovechkin all those years ago. Oh, wow. I thought I wrote out more questions than this. This is mighty awkward.
Good times.
My goodness. The Jets are going to be taking on several teams in the next week, which I like the schedule because we get Washington tonight, Vegas on Tuesday, Nashville, Vancouver. So top heavy, I'd say, to start the week, and then like very weak to end the week. It's as long as the Jets don't play down to their opponents, which is, we haven't seen that much this year for the Jets. I think we've seen 2 games where they've played down.
Columbus and
I'd say the Ducks, one of those Ducks, the first Ducks game.
The first Ducks game, yeah, when we won 3-2 because Kyle Connor got a hattie that I predicted.
Did you bet on it? Did you win money? No. Doesn't count then.
Yeah, but I looked smart. Yeah, I think so. Washington tonight.
They've won 3 in a row, their last 3.
They've won their last 3. The Jets have won their last game. But it's going to be really important for the Jets to stay out of the box. I mean, their power or the penalty kill is good, but I mean, Alex Ovechkin just standing on the wing, ripping shots isn't the best thing in the world. So I think it's going to be like, let's see. Washington's 20th on the power play. So not fantastic, but no. I still think staying out of the box with Ovi on the ice is never a bad idea. Yeah, I think it'll ultimately come down to how Connor Hellebuyck plays, as so many Jets games do, but we're going with the Jets win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, with Hellebuyck in the net, you feel pretty confident about a W going through the night. Like the guy, like Connor Hellebuyck to win a Hart and a Vezina this year.
I don't think he'll get the Hart. The Hart just goes to whoever has the most points, essentially.
Yeah, well, it's because it's based on bad voting. But I mean,
unless he's so far in a way the best goalie in the league, like number 1 in goals against average, save percentage, shutouts, wins, everything. That's the only way a goalie has a chance at the Hart. But he could put together a great season and get some votes. I mean, Shesterkin got 2nd in Hart voting last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking is there should be, I don't know, like a goaltender winning isn't the worst idea in the world. I mean, Carey Price was the last guy to do it. Was it 2014, 15, something like that?
2015, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not impossible for a goalie to do it. I just I'm looking at the other guys who would be the most outstanding player for every team, and it doesn't compare to Connor Hellebuyck. Connor Hellebuyck
True.
is,
Robertson's having a hell of a year.
but is
Um,
he the difference between, like, I understand Robertson has scored like what, 18, like he's well over 20 goals at this point. It's
Actually, no, Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins.
He's just got this. Sorry, not Dylan Cousins, Tage Thompson.
Tage Thompson. Okay, I was like,
Um, has helped
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Their resurgence is because of him.
If
But I mean, yeah, just look at he's fourth in points, one behind Robertson. McDavid's got 8 points on everyone, 12 points on anyone not on his team. It's just he's like every year he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, you got to have McDavid in that conversation. But the Oilers are, well, the Oilers this year, they're just another mediocre team. It's like, that's fantastic. They have the two best players, but in my opinion, I think the Jets are the best team, and they would be significantly worse without.
Yeah,
Without,
I agree. I agree. And if that's what they're going off of, which ultimately it should be what they're going off of, you could argue in that case, and it wouldn't be quite the same because the team sucks, but the Sharks and what Carlson's doing there.
yeah, that's fair.
He's because like no one's even close to him on their team in points, are they?
I don't think so. Like Erik Karlsson's like basically playing for he's unbelievable this year.
They're so bad.
So terrible.
They're so bad.
So I mean, like, yes, we could probably argue that it's a competition between McDaddy, Hellebuyck, and Karlsson.
So Carlson has 12 more points than anyone else on his team as a defenseman.
Stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's probably pissed that Burns.
That was bad math. It's 8 points.
Okay, that's why we're in radio. We don't do math.
That was bad math, but still, 8 points up on anyone else on your team is pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Like at least with the Jets, like everybody's within 3 to 5 points for the top. I guess 8 points at the most with the top players. But yeah, I don't know. Like if I know they're not going to give me a vote for it, but honestly, my vote would be going straight to Connor Hellebuyck. I know it sounds like a homer answer, but I don't see anyone being legitimately the difference maker on another team.
I agree. And like now the Jets are starting to play better, but Connor Hellebuyck held the Jets in the conversation while they weren't playing their best.
Yeah. Well, even the other night, Florida managed 40 shots. Chicago had a good couple of chances. St. Louis could have won that game. Like the last
Hellebuyck wasn't in net against Chicago.
My bad about Chicago. David Rittich held us in.
And he played well.
Yes.
And everyone who's been shitting on him owes him an apology just for that game.
Except for friggin' Oilers fans showing up in our feeds these days, just running their mouths on poor David Rittich.
Really?
Yeah, really. I'm gonna fly out to Edmonton. I'm gonna have to just start fighting folks on White Ave because I cannot handle this discrimination against David Rittich.
I'm curious. Who's Edmonton's goalie?
This guy by the name of Jack Campbell with an 884 save percentage and I believe like a 321 goals against.
We're just gonna we're gonna compare Rittich's stats to Jack Campbell's.
Yeah. Oh, look, okay. Jack Campbell also signed like a $5 million deal too for the next 4 years. So RIP Edmonton and your clowns.
It would be great if this worked. Let's try this again. Goalies. Here we go. Okay. We're going this is great content.
This is great content. This is awesome.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Yeah. Man, okay, if you could offer one apology to a Jets player that did not have a great year last year, who would you apologize to? Because you may have said something negative about them.
Oh, that's a good one. Probably Scheifele and Wheeler.
Yeah. That I actually wrote a full article on that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty safe one. Like they've both had a resurgence. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, I think everyone more or less gave it everything they could last year. It just was a bad year. And Connor Hellebuyck, like Shishirkin this year, yeah, he played good, but he didn't play phenomenal. So that was the difference for the Jets last year. It was the big one. But yeah, Connor Hellebuyck, big beauty. And yeah, I'm in the same boat. You got to apologize to both Wheeler and Scheifele for, everyone trying to run them out of town at the end of last season.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. I got it up. So yes, David Rittich has played less games. So that does make a big difference when it comes to goaltending stats. He's played about half the minutes that Jack Campbell has played. So Jack Campbell currently has an .872 save percentage. Terrible. And a .412 goals against average. Oh my goodness,
I was short on both of those.
David Rittich has an .893, so about .02 better. And a .272. And so a goal and a half better.
Yeah. And really, those numbers should be way better. Like that Carolina game where the Jets dropped it in the last 5 minutes for Big Save Dave. Well, there should be a shutout on that list, and maybe you bring that whole number down by a full, you bring those numbers down.
Well, I mean, that's almost a full goal. He's only played what, 5 games?
5 games, yep.
5 games, okay, and that was 3 goals.
3 goals, yeah. So
your goals against average is coming down by almost 1.
Yeah, and go back and watch those goals against in the final 5 minutes of that Carolina game. I can guarantee you're not going to be blaming David Rittich on 2 of those 3, probably 3 of those 3.
So let's calm down, Edmonton fans, with the David Rittich.
Yeah,
because he's making league min for 1 year is better than your 5x5 goalie stat wise.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievably so much better. I can't wait till we get Oilers Nation.
And I'm not saying I'd rather have David Rittich than Jack Campbell. Is straight up. Not saying that. But for the price.
When the price comes down to it. But yeah, no, I can't wait till we get Edmonton at the end of the month. Oilers Nation, I have been saving some. I've got some memes made. We are ready for it. We're all out war.
Oh God.
Yeah, you think
I might want to separate myself from that.
No. It's not like they're paying us.
True. This is true.
I mean, they pay me a little bit, but they don't pay me much. We're in the ECHL of hockey podcasts. We'll make it up to the big leagues one day, Sam. I promise.
Oh, we're grinding. We're on the grind.
Yeah, we'll get up there. We'll get up to our AHL contracts one of these days. Someone will take us seriously, I hope. You got anything else to talk about today there, Sam? I can't talk much about this team. They're just too good.
It's fun watching Jets hockey.
Yeah,
getting excited for all the games. It's fantastic.
It is. And I mean, Manalainen's out, which is just a heartbreaker.
That one's tough. Yeah, he was playing really well. Stanley was looking good in the game and a couple shifts since he had come back. But Sandberg's coming back in, and I mean, he's just a reliable defenseman.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, remember when we were talking about, this team doesn't have depth? Well, Manalainen's out, who no one expected, and it's we might get Tonin Otto in for a game, but it's probably going to be Sam Gagner for the next week.
Yeah. Which we haven't heard a timeline or anything on Manalainen, have we?
No, we're still waiting on Coach Bones to talk about that. I assume we'll probably hear tonight. Scott Arniel is they're out. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor. I don't know how long. So Scott Arniel doing Scott Arniel things. Very helpful. But I don't know. I would guess Stanley's probably gone for another 6 weeks bare minimum. He looked like he busted something good.
Yeah. But 6 weeks though, he came back for a shift. I know it was only one shift, but maybe it was the adrenaline. He felt fine. And then once that kind of went down.
Yeah, I would assume they probably took the skate off. If the skate goes back on, I don't know what the swelling looks like or what happened there, but good for him for at least showing up. That's a warrior.
Absolutely.
Move. So, and again, you want guys like that, especially come playoff time. It's he's hurt, but damn it, he's playing through it. And Manalainen too, it could be another 6 weeks without him. And I think the Jets are going to miss him more than we realize.
I agree. He plays a good, hard game of hockey, even though a week or two ago, you said he'd be the one you would take out of the lineup.
Yeah. Well, and it's just I had seen a couple of slow games from him, and then I'm assuming he probably listens to this podcast because he's one of our 32 subscribers. My assumption is he probably just, put some effort in. I assume that Coach Bones talked to him. It was like, hey man, if you want to be in the lineup, you got to be working your butt off because Sam Gagner doesn't have the talent, but that guy's knocking on the door game in and game out to get in.
Absolutely. And I mean, that competition is so nice to see when it's not just like, oh, we have this, we're rolling out the same 12 forwards every single game.
Yeah.
If you have a down game, there's a potential, and it could happen to anyone. I mean, guys, like the top end guys aren't going to get bumped out of the lineup, but Bones is willing to sit these guys if they are showing lack of effort.
Oh, 100%. Like, I think if we had seen the same play that we saw out of Scheifele and Wheeler last year, I bet you we would have seen them sitting in the press box.
I don't know about the press box, but I could see them playing like 10 minutes a night.
Interesting. I like that. But I mean, both ways, Rick Bowness isn't taking crap from these guys. He's pushing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like
and he's got guys playing at their top level.
Yeah. And it's weird because like, that's the thing is I remember this team being lines where it's just like, we're not good enough to constantly be scoring, where it'd be like, oh yeah, the second line's on it. Oh yeah, now the first line's on it for 3 games. It's like, we never got to see consistency, and well, this is consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
great to see.
It is. And going back to our very first question, that's the difference between then and now.
The consistency. Absolutely. And you know who is looking good? Goal Perfetti.
Couple
goals in the last couple games.
From my fantasy team last Sunday, like an idiot.
I think this might be the last episode of Jets Nation Radio.
Yeah. I went with Nick
Suzuki. Gang's breaking up.
Hey man, I went with Nick Suzuki. It's been looking all right, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I hate myself a little bit because was it 3 goals this last week? 2 goals this last week?
He scored 2 games in a row, but he's getting lots of points too. He's getting assists,
and he's looking smarter every game. Like that's the thing, is this guy's going to be so good in like 3 years, and we're already seeing such good production. Second in rookie scoring.
Oh, I was just about to look it up.
Yeah, you better double check because sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's still second in rookie scoring at this point. So,
yeah, like, and I mean, and you look like he's third.
Oh, so somebody beat him last night.
I don't know why it won't let me scroll over. So Matty Bernier's has, I'm assuming this is points, 21 points. Mateus Michelli from Arizona is 19, and then Perfetti is 18.
Yeah, so I mean, Perfetti's probably going to catch up again tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Or within the next couple of days. And I mean, like we talked about it all summer long. Perfetti was going to be a Calder finalist, and if it ends today, he probably looks like a Calder finalist, not a winner, but a finalist.
You would have to assume so. Yeah, he's and just having the opportunity to. Yeah, Michelli got 2 assists the game against Boston, so that would have put him
monster
up there. But what was I going to say again? Yeah, okay. You look at the experience of getting to play consistently on the same line as Scheifele and Wheeler, and that's like you've got to be learning a lot from those guys. And I feel like Perfetti's the kind of guy who's going to do his best to take all of that in and really like take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, he's like taking advantage of so many. Like the goal that he got on Friday night against Chicago, where Morrissey, with his magical spinorama that he's been pulling off all season long, just gets it out to him and just in the back of the net. Like
that was a solid shot.
It does. Yeah.
That was a nice shot. And a great pinch by Morrissey as well to keep that puck in and find Perfetti open there. That was good.
Yeah, man. I genuinely wish this team was in New York right now because everyone would be talking about how good these Jets are.
I like not having anyone talk about it.
That is true.
I enjoy being an under the radar and obviously like people are starting to talk about it, but I'm a big fan of the under the radar. No one expects you to win. And then
it gives us space to be the best podcast of the Winnipeg Jets. I don't even care what anyone else says. This is the best damn Jets podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and not only that, but the post-game lives are where it's really at.
Fantastic.
That's where we get off the rails.
You can take an L there, everyone else who does it post-game lives, because I know there's a couple of you, but you guys don't enjoy eggnog and rum like we do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything I've got. We've been at this for about 35 minutes. So, Sam, thanks so much for talking about the Jets. We'll probably talk again sooner rather than later.
Always happy to. I don't know if I'll be on the post game tonight because I have to work at 5 a.m. tomorrow, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you're on, fantastic. If not, we understand why not. Also, we need to find John Scott to talk about the Jets because boy, oh boy, his take is looking worse and worse every day. That first game, he was looking real right about it, but after that, John Scott looks like a fool. So if any of you are still listening, please tweet at John Scott. Tell him that he needs to be on this podcast because the guy's a fool, in my opinion, and I'm willing to call him out if he's on this podcast. And worst comes to worst, I will just Phil Kessel slash him 6 times to protect myself.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes. Sam, where can we find you on the internet?
S Brownell 12 on Twitter, Sam Brownell Radio on Instagram, and you can listen to me on 730ckdm.com.
Yeah, go tune
in the news.
Yeah, listen to him at like the top of the hour. Some hours, I don't know which hours exactly, but he'll let you know.
Yeah, just listen to the station.
Yeah,
all good stuff.
Oh, great stuff. You can find me, Angus Hout, on Twitter and Instagram. You can also go check out Jets Nation on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, and check out jetsnation.ca. That'd be fantastic. Have a great week, friends, and we'll talk to you again soon. Peace and grace.